The original platformer tutorial describes how to make a projectile that recycles itself. The downside is that it doesn't create multiple projectiles, so you couldn't have lots of bullets. To make multiples, we can modify this projectile to create clones of itself. So these are the blocks that we made in the previous platform game, and we can see that when we press the spacebar, it positions the object, the projectile, in front of the player, and if we leave these positions as the previous tutorial said, we can see in our game that they're not quite in the right position. It depends on the object that you use for the projectile, but this one's a little bit too low down, so we can adjust that. If we change the Y position to a smaller number, so let's just say plus 10. So that looks a bit nicer. Now the problem is this doesn't create multiple projectiles, so we can't have lots of bullets, we can only have one that we recycle. What we could change is having a master copy bullet that makes clones of itself, and then that bullet can create as many clones as you need to, so you could have heaps of bullets. So we'll start by editing the script for the bullet. What we want to do is separate out the part of the code that shoots the bullet, and we'll put it in its own function. So all of the blocks that are in when spacebar pressed, we want to drag these out and put them in a new function called shoot me away, or something like that. So make a new function from functions, we'll call this shoot me away, and put those blocks in there. And instead of shooting this projectile away when we press the spacebar, we'll make the projectile shoot away as soon as it's created. So the clones, when they get created, they'll instantly shoot themselves away. So in our when created block, we need to go and call that function shoot me away. Now let's test it out to see what happens. Now if it gives you this error, no instance could be found for a get position of instance block, this means that the bullet can't find the player yet because the player hasn't been created. The problem is we're saying when created, do the shoot me away function, and then in here we're trying to find the player, and the player might not yet have added the tag on itself. So technically the player doesn't exist yet as far as this object is concerned. What we can do is actually check if the player exists and then shoot me away. So the very first bullet that exists might not be able to find the player, so it won't bother shooting itself away. But then subsequent bullets that we create will be able to find the player.